What's up? What's happening? This is Mikedot here, and I'm taking a quick first look at Ghost Recon Online, a multiplayer third-person shooter developed and published by Ubisoft. Along with many other titles, Ghost Recon Online is a part of the world-famous Tom Clancy series, with several different novels and video games based on military and espionage action. Okay, so now I've been around reading up on a couple of message boards and whatnot, and a lot of people seem to say that Ghost Recon Online is considered to be the poor man's version of the recently released Ghost Recon Future Soldier, which is available on the PC and consoles. And for the most part, I'd say they'd be right because both games seem to share some similarities between them. But still, Ghost Recon Online is a free-to-play game. It has a lot of neat features, and it has the Tom Clancy name stuck on it, so let's see what it has going for it. When starting out in Ghost Recon Online, players will have a choice between one of three different character classes: the Assault, the Recon, and the Specialist. Now, the Assault is your typical up-close and personal soldier that uses assault rifles and riot shields to get the job done. Your Recons are more your stealthy class that uses sniper rifles and cloaking devices to pick off and scan for enemies while remaining undetected. And then there's the Specialist, which is sort of your jack-of-all-trade class between the Assault and the Recon, but they mostly excel in team support. Now, you're free to choose and switch between any of the available character classes, but only before the start of a match, because you can't switch between classes during respawns, which really sucks if you're new to the game or just new to tactical shooters in general. So new players will end up in situations where they feel completely useless due to their current class, or at least that's how I felt. But of course, once you learn the maps, you'll know which class works best in whichever situation, and you'll be able to select your class accordingly. For those that love weapon customization, you'll be happy to know that Ghost Recon Online has a variety of options to choose from. Just about every piece of your weapon can be tweaked until your heart's content. Along with customization, there are plenty of weapons and equipment you can choose from, all of which can be purchased using in-game credits or with real money. While you can customize your character's weapon and equipment, you can't customize your character's looks outside of enabling your character for the first time, but this isn't such a big deal because in the midst of a huge firefight, who's going to want to stop and look at your character's ugly face anyway? Okay, so one of the issues I had when playing Ghost Recon Online was that the game uses a matchmaking system that barely works, simply because of the low amount of players that are active in the beta. Sometimes the game will either pair you up with players that are completely out of your league or simply won't connect you with any matches at all. Outside of setting up squad parties, which is basically just a fancy friend system, there are no lobbies where players can set up their own matches. But when you do get into a match, the gameplay in Ghost Recon Online sticks to what the series is known for by offering a lot of tactical gunplay. Soldiers in the game are not your typical bullet-absorbing war machines, so players will have to watch their flank and their positions, all while carefully approaching objectives. Simply put, if you run in without a clue of what's going on, enemy players will take you down fast. Yeah, just like that. Players will have to make use of the game's cover system, and by simply pressing the spacebar, players can cling to walls and slide under obstacles to keep out of plain sight or to get the drop on enemy players. The cover system works well and all, but using the spacebar as an auto key for cover can be very sticky at times, which forced me to cling to walls when I didn't want to. Fortunately, these movements can be done manually, so it's not too much of a problem. In Ghost Recon Online, coordination, timing, and teamwork means everything. So when all the bases are covered and teammates are cooperating, action in Ghost Recon Online can lead to some pretty amazing gunfights. Gunplay is very much on the realistic side, where weapons have considerable amounts of recoil, so spray and pray is not really an option here. It also comes with a built-in voice over IP system, so players with microphones and headsets can communicate with teammates easily. But those without a mic or headset, however, will be out of luck when it comes to communication, as there isn't any kind of chat macros or quick chat commands available. Of course, there is the option to communicate with teammates the old-fashioned way by typing out messages using your keyboard, but this leaves you wide open and vulnerable. In terms of game modes, Ghost Recon Online doesn't have any special standouts to speak of. The modes available at the moment are your old time-tested standbys like attack and defend and point capture mode. The visuals for the game look pretty decent for a free-to-play game, with the whole not-so-distant future vibe that it has going for it. Oh, there's also this nice little effect that it has where it shows where your teammates are, which I like to call the digital tether effect. And it looks really cool and all, but I feel it's a bit unnecessary and sometimes it could be distracting. A simple minimap or a radar would be enough for us to know what's going on with our teammates on the battlefield, so I'd really like to have an option to disable this. Okay, now like I said earlier, a lot of people consider this game to be the poor man's version of the recently released Ghost Recon Future Soldier. This is because both games share elements with each other, such as the visual style and the team support systems and whatnot. But Ghost Recon Online doesn't seem to have any of the more interesting features that Future Soldier has, like the coordination system, which this game really could benefit from since there's no radio commands or anything like that. And I understand if Ubisoft doesn't want to bite off too much of what Ghost Recon Future Soldier has to offer, but this game honestly doesn't have many unique features going for it because a lot of the features have been done in many cover shooters before it. Also, I usually don't make a big deal when some games forget to include some kind of tutorial or practice mode on how to play the game, but Ghost Recon Online really could benefit from one, because understanding the map layout is very important, and it could save a lot of new players a few headaches against players that know where every perch, every shortcut, and where every camping spot is. When you get right down to it, a lot of what makes Ghost Recon Online has been seen and done before. I mean, there's plenty of cover-based shooters out there with gameplay similar to it, but not many free-to-play games like it. So I'd say if you're a cheap bastard like me and you really need a tactical shooter fix, you can't do much worse than what Ghost Recon Online has to offer. Still, I'd like to say that it's lacking a little something that makes the Ghost Recon game so great. Most personally speaking, I'm talking about the lack of a co-op story mode, because after all, Tom Clancy is a novelist and writing story-driven scenarios is what he does best. So it's kind of disappointing to see a Tom Clancy game that's focused solely on multiplayer competition, and I'm hoping somewhere down the line they'll add in a story-driven co-op mode and really make the Ghost Recon Online worthy of the Tom Clancy name. Of course, this game is still in beta, everything here is still subject to change and all that, and what they have so far can only be improved with time and effort, and even though I'm not into tactical shooters all that much, I certainly had fun with it. Well, that's all the time I have for this video, and if you'd like to learn more about Ghost Recon Online, just check out the links in the description for our Ghost Recon Online profile page here at OnRPG.com. But before you do that, don't forget to hit that like button. This is Mikedot saying over and out. See you out there, gamers.